The champagne flute trembled in my stepmother's perfectly manicured fingers as she thrust the dirty cleaning cloth toward my face. Since you are not doing anything important with your life, Victoria's voice dripped with venom across the Mandarin Oriental's grand ballroom. At least make yourself useful and help the staff. The silk-wrapped elite of Hong Kong's financial world watched this public humiliation unfold, their diamonds catching the light as they whispered behind jeweled hands. They had no idea they were witnessing the calm before a storm that would shatter everything they believed about power. I took the cloth without a word. What they could not see was the slight smile playing at the corners of my mouth. What they could not know was that beneath my deliberately plain black shirt, actually a $3,000 Tom Ford piece designed to look like service attire, my heart was racing with anticipation. In exactly 3 hours and 17 minutes, every single person in this room would discover that the woman they forced to clean tables secretly controlled the most powerful investment empire in Asia. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how I became invisible. 5 years ago, when I first pitched Eclipse Capital to my father Robert Chen's board, they laughed me out of the conference room. Kevin, my half-brother, had snickered that my business plan looked like something I learned from YouTube. Amanda, my half-sister, suggested I stick to more realistic goals like finding a nice husband. That was their first mistake. The second was underestimating what rejection could create in someone with nothing left to lose. While they celebrated their cleverness, I disappeared into the shadows of Hong Kong's financial underground. I built Eclipse Capital in complete secrecy, using a network of shell companies so complex that even the best financial investigators could not trace them back to me. Every major market movement in Asia for the past 3 years? Eclipse Capital. Every mysterious acquisition that reshaped financial landscapes? Me. Every anonymous investor that quietly gained controlling stakes in major corporations? My empire. Now, as I methodically wiped tables while Hong Kong's financial elite celebrated around me, my phone buzzed silently against my thigh. A message from Marcus Torres, my chief operating officer. Bloomberg article ready. Net worth calculation confirmed. All major networks standing by for 9 p.m. reveal. I continued cleaning, my movements deliberate and precise, while my family performed their favorite sport, humiliating me in public. Look at Isla, Amanda whispered loudly to her hedge fund manager husband, Damian Cross. Still playing poor while living off dad's money. The irony was so delicious I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. I had not touched my trust fund in years. Instead, I had built Eclipse Capital from nothing, turning it into a $7.2 billion investment empire, while they thought I was still finding myself. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Hong Kong's skyline glittered with possibility. Each gleaming tower housed companies that Eclipse Capital quietly controlled, though their boards thought they were dealing with just another anonymous investment firm. Remember when Isla said she was starting an investment company? Amanda's voice carried across the ballroom like nails on glass. Dad offered her a junior analyst position at Chun Holdings, and she chose to be. She paused dramatically. What are you doing now, dear? Professional table cleaner? I moved to another table, methodically wiping its marble surface while mentally calculating the billions Eclipse Capital had generated that week alone. The art of invisibility had served me well. While they mocked my supposed failure, I had been orchestrating some of the largest deals in Asian finance. A server approached, though not really a server. Lucas Rivera, my head of strategy, disguised in the same uniform as the actual staff. Miss Chun, he whispered as he passed. Goldman Sachs Asia is here. Their CEO is asking about the mysterious buyer of their Singapore division. I nodded slightly, continuing to clean tables. That mysterious buyer was Eclipse Capital, operating through a web of shell companies so complex that it had taken Goldman's investigators 6 months just to confirm the sale had actually happened. Still living in that cramped studio apartment, Kevin smirked as he passed, champagne sloshing in his crystal glass. When you are ready for real work, I might have an entry-level position for you. The studio apartment was actually the penthouse of a building I owned. The real work he offered was at a company whose major decisions were quietly controlled by Eclipse Capital's holdings. My phone lit up again. This time from our legal team. SEC filings complete. Ownership structures verified. Ready for 9 p.m. disclosure. I wiped another table, watching my family bask in their imagined importance. In exactly 2 hours, they would learn that while they were busy mocking the cleaning lady, she had built one of the most sophisticated investment firms in Asia. Isla, Victoria called out theatrically, her voice designed to carry across the ballroom. At least try to clean properly. Even as staff, you are embarrassing us. If she only knew that the staff member she was berating owned controlling interests in half the companies represented in this room. Eclipse Capital had spent 5 years methodically acquiring positions in major Asian corporations, but we had kept our ownership structure deliberately obscure. Shell companies within shell companies, investments routed through dozens of countries, legal structures so complex they looked like abstract art. My phone buzzed again. Financial Times exclusive ready. Eclipse Capital emerges, the hidden giant of Asian finance. Through the ballroom's massive windows, I could see the enormous screens on neighboring buildings being tested. At exactly 9 p.m., they would display Eclipse Capital's logo and my net worth to the world. The same logo Kevin had called Amateur Hour when I first showed him my business plan. The service entrance needs attention, Victoria called out loudly, her voice cutting through the classical music. Isla dear, that is more your level. The service entrance she sneered at actually led to a private elevator I had installed months ago. One that went straight to Eclipse Capital's secret headquarters on the 47th floor of this very building. While they thought I was cleaning tables, I had been running a multi-billion-dollar empire right above their heads. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin's voice boomed through the sound system as he approached the microphone. In 1 hour, Chun Holdings will announce the largest acquisition in Asian financial history. I kept wiping tables, hiding my smile. In exactly 60 minutes, a very different kind of announcement would steal their thunder completely. Around me, Asia's financial elite gathered in anticipation. Bank presidents, hedge fund managers, tech billionaires, real estate moguls. None of them realizing that the woman cleaning their tables controlled more wealth than anyone in the room. Still using that ancient phone? Amanda smirked, flashing her latest iPhone. I suppose that is all you can afford on a cleaner's salary. My ancient phone was actually a prototype of Eclipse Capital's proprietary trading system, worth more than her annual bonus. But that was part of the carefully crafted deception. While they focused on appearances, I had been quietly revolutionizing Asian finance. Isla, Victoria called out sharply, her diamond bracelet catching the light. There is a spill by the VIP table. Try not to embarrass us further while cleaning it. The VIP table was filled with executives from companies Eclipse Capital secretly controlled. I had orchestrated their mergers, approved their strategies and shaped their futures. All while they thought they were independent powers in Asian business. Miss Chun, Lucas whispered as he passed with a tray of champagne. Singapore Exchange is requesting an urgent meeting with Eclipse's owner regarding the Thornfield merger. The merger they thought they were planning, not realizing I already controlled both companies involved. This was the beauty of true power. Letting others think they were in charge while quietly owning everything. Waiting for the perfect moment of revelation. Through the windows, I could see news vans gathering outside the Mandarin Oriental. They thought they were here for Chun Holdings' announcement. Instead, they would witness the emergence of Asia's most powerful hidden force. Remember when Isla tried to explain her investment strategy to Dad? Kevin laughed to a group of bankers. He said it sounded like she had learned finance from YouTube tutorials. That strategy had actually revolutionized Asian markets and generated billions in quiet profits. While they mocked my supposed ignorance, I had been orchestrating some of the largest deals in financial history. Ma'am, Lucas murmured as he collected empty glasses near my table. CNBC Asia crew is in position. All networks ready. I nodded slightly, moving to clean another table. My father held court at the center of the room. Robert Chin, the supposed king of Asian finance, celebrating his 65th birthday while his youngest daughter wiped tables around his guests. If he had bothered to check the ownership structure of his recent acquisitions, he might have noticed they all led back to the same shadowy network of companies. All roads led to Eclipse Capital. Isla. Amanda approached with fake sympathy dripping from her voice. You could at least try to network. These people run Asia's financial world. People whose companies I owned. People whose strategies I controlled. People whose futures would be shaped by what I was about to reveal. The waiters began serving the main course, carefully following Victoria's instructions to treat me like actual staff. The $500 per plate dinner would be cold by the time I could take a break, but that was part of the performance. Chun Holdings is about to become the most powerful firm in Asia, Kevin declared, champagne sloshing dangerously close to his designer suit. Dad's announcement will reshape entire markets. My phone lit up with another message, this time from our PR team. All major Asian financial networks aligned. Building screens tested and ready. Countdown initiated. Isla. My father finally addressed me directly, his voice carrying the same dismissive tone I had heard my entire life. At least try to look professional while cleaning. You are embarrassing enough as it is. I met his gaze calmly, my cleaning cloth poised over the marble surface. Of course, Dad. I would not want to miss tonight's revelations. Something in my tone made him pause, but Victoria's voice cut through his moment of uncertainty. Still playing at being a businesswoman, I see. She sauntered past, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor. Remember when Dad's board laughed her out of the room? What was it they said? That her ideas were completely unrealistic. Something like that. I smiled, thinking about the complex network of companies that made Eclipse Capital the hidden force behind Asian finance. The room was buzzing with anticipation. Financial reporters checked their cameras. Executives huddled in groups discussing market projections, and my family basked in their moment of perceived triumph. Poor Isla, Victoria murmured to her social circle, her voice deliberately loud enough for me to hear. She could have had everything handed to her at Chun Holdings. Now she is literally serving the people she could have been working with. My phone buzzed again. A message from our acquisition team. Final paperwork complete on Chun Holdings takeover. Ready for 9 p.m. announcement. The irony was so perfect it felt orchestrated by the universe itself. Lucas appeared beside me, his server disguise flawless. Ma'am, Eclipse systems are ready. All teams standing by for your signal. Through the ballroom's windows, we could see the neighboring building's screens preparing to switch from their normal advertisements to something far more significant. They thought they were here for an acquisition announcement. They had no idea they were about to witness the emergence of Asia's true financial power. Everyone gather around, Kevin called out, his voice filled with practiced confidence. Dad's announcement will change Asian financial history forever. My father approached the microphone, his usual commanding presence radiating across the ballroom. Cameras focused, phones lifted to record, and the financial elite of Hong Kong pressed closer. Friends, family, and distinguished colleagues, he began. The first phones began to buzz. Every screen in the ballroom suddenly switched from the Chun Holdings logo to something very different. My father's words died in his throat as his image was replaced by a headline that would change everything. Eclipse Capital revealed. Asia's hidden giant. Rachel Chun controls $7.2 billion empire. Mystery investor behind major Asian mergers finally unmasked. The silence was absolutely deafening. I calmly continued wiping the table in front of me, as chaos began to erupt around the room. The Bloomberg headline was just the beginning. Eclipse Capital, led by CEO Isla Chun, emerges as the controlling force behind Asia's largest financial deals. The scrolling text continued. The secretive firm, operating through an intricate network of shell companies, has accumulated assets worth $7.2 billion, while its founder maintained a deliberate cover as a service worker. That is impossible, Kevin stammered, his champagne glass frozen halfway to his mouth. Isla is just a. What, brother? I finally straightened up, setting down my cleaning cloth with deliberate precision. A cleaner? Or the woman who owns controlling stakes in most of the companies you do business with? The ballroom screens switched to live data feeds showing Eclipse Capital's true portfolio, our global reach, and the extensive list of companies we quietly controlled. Each revelation caused another wave of gasps to ripple through the crowd. But we checked every major investor in our deals. Amanda's voice cracked with disbelief. Your firm was not even listed anywhere. Because I did not want it to be, I replied, removing my service apron to reveal the impeccably tailored shirt beneath. Eclipse Capital operates through over 500 separate entities across 12 countries, including, I might add, Chen Holdings' largest institutional investors. My father stumbled forward, his usual confidence completely evaporating. The Singapore merger we are announcing tonight will not be happening, I confirmed, my voice carrying clearly across the stunned ballroom. Eclipse Capital already owns controlling interests in both firms. In fact, we control the majority of companies represented in this room tonight. The Bloomberg article continued scrolling across every screen. Eclipse Capital's portfolio includes majority stakes in over 30 major Asian financial institutions, making Isla Chen one of the most influential hidden forces in global finance. Victoria clutched her crystal champagne flute like a lifeline. $7.2 billion. But that would make you the most powerful private investor in Asia, Marcus confirmed, emerging from the crowd in an impeccable suit, no longer disguised as a server. And that is before we announce our acquisition of Chen Holdings. The financial reporters in the room had recovered from their initial shock, and were now broadcasting live to the world. In an unprecedented revelation, one reporter spoke rapidly into her camera. Eclipse Capital has emerged as the controlling force behind Asia's largest financial institutions. Its founder, Isla Chen, spent tonight cleaning tables at her own father's birthday celebration while secretly controlling billions. Ma'am, Lucas approached, now dressed in executive attire that revealed his true position. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is requesting an emergency meeting. They are concerned about market stability, given the scope of our holdings. Through the windows, the neighboring buildings blazed with Eclipse Capital's logo projected against the night sky. The same logo Kevin had mocked as amateurish when I first showed him my business plan 5 years ago. All this time, Amanda whispered, her voice barely audible above the chaos, while we were making jokes about you cleaning tables. I was building an empire, I said quietly, my voice somehow carrying across the entire ballroom. Every major market movement in Asia for the past 3 years? Orchestrated by Eclipse Capital. Those mysterious trades that Chen Holdings could never explain? All us. Kevin made one last desperate attempt to salvage his dignity. The clients will not accept this. They trust Chen Holdings' reputation. Do they? I raised an eyebrow, gesturing toward another set of data, now projecting on the screens. Check your client list against Eclipse Capital's subsidiaries. You have actually been working for me for years. You just did not know it. Marcus approached with a tablet, his expression professional but tinged with satisfaction. Ma'am, the regulatory filings are now live. Chen Holdings stock will be suspended at market open pending integration into Eclipse Capital. And speaking of integration, I continued, addressing the stunned room, every Chen Holdings employee will receive 2 options tomorrow morning. Join Eclipse Capital with quadrupled compensation packages, or accept a very generous severance. Unlike some people, I believe in rewarding talent regardless of which entrance they use to enter the building. Victoria's social climbing instincts kicked in desperately. Isla, darling, surely we can discuss this as family. Family. I turned to face her fully, my voice carrying decades of suppressed pain. Like when you made me use the service entrance at every family gathering. Like when you served me cold leftovers while I was cleaning up after your dinner parties. Like when you told everyone I was too stupid for real business. The screens now showed Eclipse Capital's true scope. Investment strategies that had revolutionized Asian finance, proprietary technology that had transformed entire markets, and a corporate structure that prioritized merit over appearance, talent over connections. Tomorrow morning, I addressed the stunned room with the authority I had always possessed but never revealed. Eclipse Capital begins its fully public phase. Chen Holdings will become a subsidiary, its strategies completely modernized, its outdated culture entirely rebuilt. My father found his voice again, though it came out as barely more than a whisper. You will destroy everything I built. No, Dad. I replied, my voice gentle but firm. I will improve everything you could never imagine. While you were teaching Kevin how to network at country clubs, I was building the future of finance. While you were mocking my cleaning job, I was revolutionizing Asian markets. The daughter you made wipe tables? She now controls your entire empire. Lucas appeared again, no longer hiding his executive status. Ma'am, Tokyo markets are opening early due to the news. They are requesting immediate guidance on the transition protocols. I checked my deliberately cheap watch. The same one Amanda had mocked earlier that evening. Tell them Eclipse Capital's full protocols are now in effect. And prepare the main conference room for tomorrow's global staff announcement. The ballroom had transformed into a media circus, with cameras broadcasting the revelation live across Asia and beyond. Through the windows, Eclipse Capital's logo glowed brilliantly against Hong Kong's skyline, its understated power now unveiled for the entire world to see. Miss Chen, a final reporter called out, pushing through the crowd. One last question for our viewers. Why maintain the cleaner facade for so long? Why not reveal your success years ago? I looked up at our logo illuminating the night sky, thinking about the years of careful planning, the quiet acquisitions, the patient waiting for this absolutely perfect moment. Because true power does not need to announce itself, I replied, my voice carrying clearly across the ballroom and into the cameras broadcasting worldwide. Sometimes the best way to build something extraordinary is to let others underestimate you completely. While they were mocking me for cleaning tables, I was quietly becoming their boss. As the evening continued, the full scope of the transformation became clear. Chen Holdings employees were celebrating in the offices below as news of their quadrupled salaries spread. The executive floor, however, remained eerily quiet. Kevin's corner office, the one he had bragged about for years, was already being converted into Eclipse Capital's new global trading center. Amanda's precious executive lounge would become an innovation hub where actual work got done. And my father's elaborate suite? The new employee training facility, where merit would be rewarded over nepotism. Ma'am, Marcus reported as the night wound down. 99% of Chen Holdings staff have accepted Eclipse Capital's offers. The remaining 1% are exclusively from the old executive team. I smiled, thinking about the lessons in humility that would inevitably follow. Sometimes the best view of success is not from the corner office, I said. It is from ground level, watching, waiting, and building something revolutionary while others are busy showing off their borrowed power. As my helicopter lifted off from the building's private helipad, I looked down at the transformed skyline. Every illuminated Eclipse Capital logo represented years of patient planning, strategic invisibility, and the kind of quiet determination that builds empires while others are distracted by appearances. The headlines would continue for weeks. The Eclipse rises. How a cleaner built a $7.2 billion empire. Asia's new queen, Isla Chen's path from tables to triumph. From service staff to financial giant. The hidden force behind Asian finance. But the real story was simpler than any headline could capture. Sometimes the person they make clean tables becomes the one who owns the building. Sometimes the greatest victory comes from letting them think you are serving them while you are actually conquering them. And as for that cleaning cloth Victoria had thrust into my hands, I kept it, framed in my new office. After all, some of the best deals in history have been made by someone everyone underestimated. Quietly building an empire while they were not looking. The eclipse had finally revealed itself, and its light would forever change the landscape of Asian finance. But more than that, it proved something I had always believed. True power is not about making others serve you. It is about serving your vision so completely that you become unstoppable. Even when they hand you a cleaning cloth and tell you to know your place. Sometimes your place is exactly where you need to be to change everything. If this story inspired you, please subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales of hidden power, ultimate revenge, and the triumph of the underestimated. Your support helps us bring you more stories that prove success comes to those who are willing to work in the shadows until their moment in the light arrives.